How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Dark City. This is from 1998, and for the sake of the review, I did watch the director's cut, and I want to make it clear that that's the version of the movie I'm going to be talking about. I don't know too much about the two different cuts of this movie, but my dad watched this movie with me, who saw the theatrical cut in theaters back in the day, and he simply said, this version makes a lot more sense. So I'll take his word for that, and if anyone wants to elaborate on the differences in the comments, I'd be interested to hear them. Anyway, this movie was directed by Alex Proyas, who I've seen on the channel before when we reviewed the movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage. And I believe he also directed The Crow, which I really need to get to sometime. That's a fun movie as well. This movie stars Rufus Sewell, Kiefer Sutherland, really liked him in The Lost Boys, Jennifer Connelly, she's always great, and William Hurt. So a pretty good cast there as well. And this movie is definitely a movie with a really big cult following, and I've seen it come up a few times in various YouTube videos, people talking about really underrated sci-fi movies or sci-fi movies you should watch if you like this or that. So I finally got a chance to watch it, and I can say, no, this is really, really great and very, very underrated. Now, this is a movie with a lot of layers and mystery, so it might be better to go in knowing as little as possible. So I will say, without spoiling too much, if you like a dark and gloomy atmosphere in your movies, that's really good. If you like a Philip K. Dick style sci-fi story about questioning identity and stuff, that's cool as well, with a little pinch of horror to make it even better too, you know? And I'd say this really does have something going for it as far as, you know, the mysterious city with something up and, you know, an environment that clearly has something going on behind the scenes and how do I get out of it? And I think that's the best way I can say why being vague as possible, but it is really cool and I would definitely recommend it. Let's go into a little bit of a setup for this movie. I'm gonna try to be avoiding major spoilers, but as I just said, if you want to go in completely blind, feel free to pause the video here, watch it, and come back. Again, I would definitely recommend this, but if you don't mind digging a little bit and doing a little bit more of an analysis, I'll try to not spoil any more than I have to, and I won't go anywhere near the end, but let's go in for a little bit of analysis and talking a little bit about the plot. This movie opens up a man in a bathtub with amnesia and no idea of how he got there or who he is. Well, quite disturbing for him, he goes into the main part of this hotel room and there's a dead woman on the floor with spirals cut into her. Who is she? Did I do this? If I didn't do this, who did? We're in a mystery here. And so he exits and he explores the town and he starts to put together clues, and it gets much bigger, much deeper, much darker, and much more extreme than you might think at first glance. We get a few characters from his old life kind of hinting at who he is. We get his wife, who he's separated from, and you kind of question what state their relationship was in. The wife, of course, is played by Jennifer Connelly, who as always does a great job. She is a singer, which does lend to the film's film noir atmosphere, and also, I mean, it's this thing on YouTube where I don't know why, but people love to sync 80s music to Jennifer Connelly movies, so it's something about Jennifer Connelly and singing. But also, we have the doctor, played by Kiefer Sutherland. And he does an excellent job at a shady character, really shifty, and you never know if you can trust him or not. Even when things get out, like, oh, he did this or that thing, and you think, okay, I shouldn't trust him, but you can still kind of see why he's doing it and what else he may be up to. It's a really good example of a character that, right up until the end, you don't really know if you can trust. And the way everything plays out with him, pretty interesting. So a good character as well. But also, man, the town. This town, when you get out into it, is just dripping with atmosphere. Elements of film noir, elements of like Gotham City, little bits from a bunch of different things that may not be exactly any one time period, but a really interesting city with its own voice. Also, you guys may notice a little bit Matrix in here, and that literally is because after this movie was done filming, The Matrix bought some of their sets and used that in their movie. So, if you like that, that's really cool. But it's not just the town. The creepy society that controls the town. You get a bunch of guys, they're all bald, and they all wear these coats and hats. It's super creepy and scary, especially, like, one of them's a little kid. That little kid, and I watch a ton of horror movies, that little kid is one of the creepiest kids in movies that I've ever seen. Really good job there. But yeah, they're a secret group that controls the town to the point where they can put every single person to sleep and they can start rearranging and changing things while they're out. And our protagonist is the only one with the power to stay awake while they change stuff. It's very interesting and different. And yeah, a secret society of men in hats secretly changing the world. You know how I said this reminded me of Philip K. Dick? Yeah, this is, I think, probably a better adaptation of The Adjustment Team than The Adjustment Bureau, which is the official one. So yeah, if you're Philip K. Dick fans, seriously need to check this out. It is really, really probably up your alley. But the plot comes out in layers. It's not all explained at once. And like, you watch the movie, and in the beginning, you kind of get a sense, okay, I get this piece. And a lot of other movies, that would basically be it. But this piece leads to that piece, leads to this piece, and it gets bigger and bigger to something really spectacular. And I won't spoil what it is, but there is an extreme wide shot towards the end of this movie that is really, really great. And I do love just how deep this goes. You know, you start off with a dead woman in a hotel room, a very standard film noir setup. You think it's going to be a little mystery. But no, we're going bigger than that. And it is really cool. As I hinted at earlier, it does have a really good atmosphere, this town, but also that sense that something's going on behind the scenes, and you can't escape it, you know? You could go, how do I get out of this city, and run around, and you might not ever find your way out. Is there an exit from this place? Is there not? And also, the movie is called Dark City. Yeah. When was the last time you remembered seeing the sun? Yeah, no, that is something there. That is really, really interesting. And another element I like is Shell Beach. He remembers that he was born in a town called Shell Beach, and he knows that, like, people in the city know about this place as well. Oh, I know Shell Beach. I go there on vacation every year. Where is it? How can I get to Shell Beach? I don't remember. I think you go on this street? The idea that there is this elusive paradise, really, really cool as well. a contrast to the Dark City itself. That's really cool. And another element, a major theme, again, as I said earlier, this is very much Philip K. Dick inspired, and one of his big questions was that of identity. And when we get the man in hats changing things, it does lead to some good questions of identity. You know, that whole nature versus nurture debate, which usually is just a bunch of people not really doing deep analysis, but here it is deep. You see, like, you know, a man behind a desk, and then when you go back, it's a different man. Did they just change shifts, or what? But then maybe you see that man again later. Is he the same person? Are people getting put into different spaces? There's a really famous scene in this movie where there's this couple, and they're arguing. They're very poor, and they want someone to listen and respect them. But then a change happens, and now this couple is very rich. They don't remember being poor, and they don't really care at all about poor people now. And that is a very deep and kind of disturbing thing, you know? I mean, especially in an age where we're in, where people are quite quick to judge every single historical figure, the idea that a lot of your identity depends on the place and time you were born, on your surroundings, is very disturbing. But it's not all on the nurture side. It does say that there is some unobtainable element there. There is something to your personality and who you are. And one element I really do like, the amnesia, which, you know, at first some critics might say is a little bit extreme, you know, a little bit cliched, a little played out. Oh man, another detective story where he has amnesia. But there's another layer to it. He doesn't know who he is, but without knowing who he is to society, who he is to the world, and the role that he's supposed to be, maybe this guy actually knows who he is better than everyone else. The guy with amnesia may not remember his name, but the only thing that he does know is his core self. And I think that's something to play around with, and they do expand upon that as to why the world works in this way. And I hope I didn't go too far, but I really wanted to analyze that last chunk there and get talking about it, because it is a really good idea. You know, it is an intelligent way to talk about this topic, and it, you know, leaves the door open for future discussion, which I really do like that. So yeah, overall, a really good movie. The whole Philip K. Dick sci-fi identity thing. On top of that, just a ton of cool, dark visuals, various elements of a ton of cool stuff thrown in to make this really awesome looking movie. I just want to say, yeah, I get where the cult following really comes from for this one, and I definitely would recommend checking it out. To everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my sci-fi movies playlist. If you want to see me talk about other sci-fi films, you can find that there. And if there's one you want to hear me talk about, I'm open to recommendations. I'm not always sure if I can fit every single thing in the schedule, but I'm willing to listen to recommendations. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.